Respiration is our second characteristic of life to be discussed here. Respiration simply refers to oxidation of organic organic compounds, oxidation of organic compounds to liberate energy, oxidation of organic compounds to liberate energy, in the cells of an organism, So that is our respiration. It refers to oxidation of organic compounds to liberate energy in the cells of an organism. So the energy liberated is in the form of adenosine triphosphate, or what you can call ATP. ATP is not the energy carrier molecule within the cells of organisms. There are some other energy carrier molecules. However, this one is taken to be universal due to its smaller size. Therefore, it can easily, due to its smaller size, and also it's easily being hydrolyzed to liberate energy. The smaller size permits it to be moved from the mitochondrion, where it is liberated in most cases, though it can also be liberated in the cytoplasm of the cell. But most of the ATP is formed in the mitochondrion during aerobic respiration, in the processes like the link reaction, Krebs cycle, electron transport chain. Those processes has information of a lot of ATP that has to migrate to move from the mitochondrion across its envelope back to the cytoplasm, where it can be used to run a lot of active processes that require energy. So the food compounds that are rich in energy, these are called fuels. So biofuels, just as you know, even a vehicle or a motorcycle, any other whatever machine, normally need fuels for them to run. So we also have what we call biofuels. So biofuels, these are now foods. These are now foods rich in energy. Here we have got lipids, we have got carbohydrates, then we have got proteins. These are energy giving foods. These foods can give energy. Yes, we know that proteins have got another function to do with building tissues, but they are also biofuels. So these are go foods or energy giving foods. But this is not only restricted to these ones. Any organic compound rich in carbon and hydrogen as well, it can act as a biofuel. It can be oxidized to liberate energy, but also it depends on the organism or the species of that particular organism. That's very important to understand. In terms of energy content, lipids are far greater than carbohydrates, which are also far greater than proteins in terms of provision of energy when they get oxidized. Lipids give much energy, then carbohydrates come in the second position, then proteins come in the last position. That one is very important to understand. Now, one can easily ask themselves, then if carbohydrates have less energy compared to lipids, why is it that normal carbohydrates are taken to be the primary source of energy? The reason lies in their oxygen content. Carbohydrates can readily be oxidized. They need less oxygen to be oxidized than lipids. Let me give you an example. Compare a lipid like a tristearine, a lipid like a stearic acid. Let's use a lipid like a stearic acid. Compare a lipid like a stearic acid, which is C18, hydrogen 36 O2. Now compare carbohydrates like glucose, which is C6H12O6. You see, this one is a very large molecule than this one because it is having 18 carbon atoms, 36 hydrogens. This one has 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens. It means this one is far, far larger than this one. Now, but look, this very large molecule has only has 2 oxygens in its structure. This one has only 6. This one has 6 oxygens in its structure, 3 times this one. It means during oxidation, these lipids will require a lot of oxygen to be oxidized. That's why it is very dangerous to eat lipids, food rich in a lot of lipids during night when you're going to sleep, unless you're going to do some exercise, because you're going to cover yourself and you'll be somehow oxygen deficient, and you're likely to get a lot of issues with lipid metabolism, and you want to get a good night. So, proteins also provide energy because they are also rich in carbon and hydrogen as well. They are rich in energy. So, as these foods are being oxidized, whereby the oxidation here means loss of hydrogen and loss of electrons in this discussion here. As they are getting oxidized, a lot of energy is being liberated, and this energy is harnessed to do useful work in the body. So these are some of the importance of energy that is liberated during respiration. So use of energy liberated during respiration. So here, for example, to drive active processes like active transport of materials. For example, you can look at how the sodium potassium pump functions. This pump pumps 3 sodiums outside of the cell and 2 potassium ions into the cell. But while doing it, these ions are being moved against their concentration gradient, and therefore it is energy consuming. But in that process, ATP is being consumed, is being utilized to drive such a process. Look at muscle contraction. Muscle contraction requires a lot of energy, and ATP is being expended. Look at protein synthesis. A lot of ATP is being utilized during protein synthesis because it is an active process. And you know what proteins do in our body? Most of them are structural proteins like collagen, keratin, others are enzymes, others are hormones, others are proteins of the complement system, part of the immunity, antibodies, a lot of proteins that are being manufactured in the body. By doing protein synthesis, ATP is utilized. DNA replication requires a lot of energy because during DNA replication, somewhere bonds are being broken, and in most cases, bond breakage is endothermic, is endergonic. Therefore, it is an energy consuming process. So DNA replication requires energy. Look at cell division. Cell division requires a lot of energy. For example, it also involves DNA replication, and also some other processes. Partial proteins are being synthesized, and even shortening of the spindle fibers during mitosis or meiosis. Energy is required. This energy is used for movement. E.g., we can look at the movement of sperm cells during fertilization. Requires energy. During fertilization, it requires a lot of energy. So those are some of the functions that require energy. Because without energy, this process cannot occur. Plus, very many other processes. For example, look at the sodium potassium pump, which is very vital during transmission of nerve impulses. Muscle contraction allows the locomotion to occur. Protein synthesis provides proteins required by the entire body. DNA replication provides transmission of genetic material from one generation of organisms to the next. Cell division permits growth and development. Movement, whatever, permits fertilization and hence reproduction and hence passage of characteristics from one generation to another. So that is how respiration is very important. Therefore, in the moment you don't respire well, you are going to run into a lot of problems. So with the time in the future, we shall be discussing respiration at length. Thank you very much.